Veterans Day is coming up in November. And joining us this morning is retired Lieutenant General Butch Funk, taking time out of his day to talk about things going on both north of us near Fort Hood and here in Central Texas in the next few days. General Funk, it's great to have you with us here on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you very much for having us, Brian. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's begin, if you don't mind, by talking about your service to our country. You served, of course, more than 30 years until your retirement. What did that service and has that service meant to you, sir?
Well, first of all, I think it's all about the soldiers and their families that I served with. I can't tell you how much power there is in our Army and the people in our Army because we have quality folks and have had since I came in. I served in Vietnam. I served in Desert Storm. So sort of two different, totally different wars and kinds of wars. But the constant in all this is the quality of the soldiers, the non-commissioned officers and the junior officers that we have. And their families, which a lot of people don't think about, are really important to this effort because they really are the glue that holds our Army together. So tremendous opportunity, tremendous honor to serve with them. And the older I get, the more I look back on that and think I was very fortunate.
I think we're the fortunate ones, General. You mentioned family there, and that's a perfect lead-in to my next question. It's really amazing. You and your son, General Paul Funk II, have an impressive distinction. Only the second in United States history, the second father and son to command the same three-star command. How special is it to share that with your son?
Yeah, that's another really terrific question because I never urged my son to come in the service. He actually followed the same route I did. He went to Montana State University, that was our home state, and pursued an ROTC career all on his own. I mean, this was all his decision. And it was partly because of all those great people that he met over time that we talked about earlier. But for me, I couldn't be prouder of that, and I couldn't be more honored to have served with him. He was actually in 3rd Armored Division, the division that I was privileged to command in Desert Storm. He was a company commander there, a captain, and I was then a major general commanding 3rd Armored Division, the Spearhead Division, in what was the Army's greatest first battle. Tremendous victory, but what a thrill it was to have him serve with me. Not sure I'd want to go through it again, but it was great.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, sir.
No, that's fine. That's enough.
Well, you retired in 1996. Retired is kind of a loose term. You've been very busy since then. You've continued to be involved, serving the country in many ways. You're now the president and CEO of the National Mounted Warfare Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization responsible for the U.S. Army's newest museum. I want you to tell the people here in Austin what they can see at the National Mounted Warrior Museum there at Fort Hood.
Sure, you bet. And I need to throw in, I spent 8.5 years at the University of Texas at the Institute for Advanced Technology. So since you're broadcasting from Austin, I need to throw that in. That was a great honor. I loved that. Unfortunately, that organization isn't still going there at the University of Texas, but did a lot for the country. The museum is unique in our Army in that it's focused on not a branch or not a battle or anything like that. It's about mounted combat. It's a way of warfighting that has been developed over the years, ever since the Revolutionary War, by first the horse cavalry, and in the latest editions, the mounted force was great big armored divisions with more combat power than any division in the world, fighting in Desert Storm. So basically, let's talk about 3rd Armored Division, 22,533 soldiers, men and women, 13% of the force were women, by the way. We couldn't have had the quality Army and still can't without the women that we have today and then. But the point I would make is every single one of those people was in some kind of conveyance. They all marched into Iraq. We went in together, we attacked, and everybody was in some sort of a mounted position. So whether it was 360 main battle tanks, 300 Bradley fighting vehicles, or all of the logistics support, for instance, we had over 60 5,000-gallon tankers that we took with us to provide fuel, about 633,000 gallons of fuel a day, men and women, young women getting out of those in the desert in the middle of a fight with a 5,000-gallon tanker pumping fuel. Kind of makes your heart sing when you think about the quality of those people.
You said it there. You said it there for sure. Such an important time to remember for all of us here what was accomplished there. I'll be with you in Georgetown on Monday for a very, very special ceremony honoring 60 Vietnam veterans and their families. It's really 50, it's hard to believe 50 years since the Vietnam War. This commemoration will honor the veterans who served in the U.S. Armed Forces from November of 55 to May of 1975, regardless of where they served. No distinction between veterans who served in country and theater or who were stationed there in Vietnam. What is that? What are things like that to remember those service members and veterans? What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, I think we were largely forgotten about when that war finally ended. During the war, I had folks that I served with under my command in Vietnam return to get spit on, literally, and hollered at and things thrown at because they served in our military. My rejoinder was, why didn't you throw that garbage at the politicians, not at us? We didn't start the war, but we executed it. And by the way, these young people fought as well as anybody in the United States Armed Forces has fought ever, despite all the pressures and ugliness of that time. I'm not saying one way or another. I thought it was a stupid war. I didn't necessarily think that at the time, but I did think it just wasn't well done in terms of our own national objectives and the direction from Washington, D.C. to those of us in the combat zone. So to be able to recognize those folks who served in that, and by the way, that's right, doesn't matter, you didn't have to serve in Vietnam, but if you were in the military, you were really going counter to all kinds of folks in this country in terms of service. I don't have any regard for those who were cowards and went to Canada, but I have huge regard for all those who served, even if they opposed the war. Blame the political leaders. Do not blame the soldiers, please. And this is a way for all branches of the service to at least get a little recognition for standing up and raising their hand and repeating that oath.
General Funk, it's just a pleasure to have you. I've kept you way too long, but I do have one more question, if you don't mind obliging me this. My dad's a veteran. We've got veterans here in Austin that we're very fond of. What is Veterans Day is coming up later in November? When you reflect on what you've meant to, let me rephrase that, what the country has meant to you, and you get to Veterans Day, what does that day mean? What should people that are my age and younger know about what Veterans Day is supposed to represent?
Great question. Look, above all, it represents sacrifice. Even if it's peacetime, the sacrifice that you take, whether you're single or married, and what your families go through while you're serving, it's particularly acute during actual wars, Brian, of course. But any time that you've kind of uprooted yourself, gone in, volunteered in the forces, totally volunteered nowadays, and serve the country. It's like it's being part of something bigger than yourself. And selfless service is not an empty phrase. It's so important to this country. And if you do it in politics, if you do it in the military, if you do it in a church, whatever it is, serving others in that manner is terribly important. So for us that are veterans, it's particularly key on that day just to reflect. And for me, it's the association of all the great soldiers and families that I've been privileged to serve with over time. About 3 weeks ago, I went to Missoula, Montana for a reunion of Apache Troop, A Troop, 1st Squadron, 9th Cavalry, air cavalry troop that I was privileged to command in Vietnam. Some of my dearest friends are from that unit, and they were magnificent, and they still are. We're all fatter, we're all a lot older, but great, great folks who care about the country.
Well, I still think you look fantastic, and I thank you for your time joining us here on KVUE, sir.
All right, thanks to you, Brian, for doing this. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, let me tell you, you're the kind of person that makes me proud to live in this country, and I'm so excited to meet you next week. I thank you so much for all you've done for our country, and I really appreciate you being with us.
You bet. God bless. Come to our museum if we get it open.
Yeah, well, let's get these politicians in line, sir. Me and you, we'll get them in line, and we'll get that museum back open again.
There you go. Amen.
Have a wonderful day, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. You too.